welcome everyone to the first episode of Hornets Daily, your one-stop shop for all the buzz happening around the Charlotte Hornets. I'm Vance Ballard, but friends like you call me VB, and I'll be bringing you all the most important and up-to-date information surrounding the Charlotte Hornets right here on the Hornets Daily YouTube page. It's a jam-packed time of year, and we've got plenty to talk about, so no need to beat around the bush. Let's just jump right into it here today. We're just 2 days away from draft night at the Barclays Center, and the Hornets have some major decisions left to make. As we know, they currently hold the 4th overall pick in the draft, and what they do with that pick has been the talk of the town throughout the league, throughout Charlotte, throughout the fan base and franchise. All anyone can talk about. Will the pick be utilized? Will it be Con Knipple? Will VJ Edgecombe fall down to 4? Do the Hornets trade back and pick a veteran? Get a veteran asset, move back and take another pick in the first round? That's been a big talking point with the fans and throughout the franchise as well. A lot of rumors swirling in the streets about what they could potentially do if they do trade it. One of those new rumors that's popped up recently is that the Brooklyn Nets are interested in moving up and increasing their draft position, hoping that maybe Ace Bailey falls down to the number 4 pick. If that is the case, the Hornets could go after someone like a two-way impact player such as Nick Claxton, as well as the number 8 pick, or maybe one of the other 3 picks that the Brooklyn Nets possess in the first round of this draft. Now, Claxton would immediately fill a much-needed void for Charlotte, coming off of a 10-8 season where he averaged nearly a double-double and almost 1.5 blocks per game to go along with that. As we know, the big man is the big question in Charlotte. Who's going to come in? Who's going to be the anchor? Is there going to be an answer for the future? Will it be someone like Nick Claxton added in a draft night trade? Cam Johnson, his name has also been floated in a Nets trade, although I don't think that would fix nearly the issues that Claxton would. It doesn't seem to be as much of a wing problem, in my opinion, in Charlotte as it does a big man problem. Johnson is coming off of a career-high year scoring the ball, something that you never really want to turn that down if it's available, but I do think Claxton would just be a much better fit for the franchise and where they stand right now. With 4 first-round picks, players that fill needs, and a desire to move up, the Nets absolutely could be the best suitor for the Hornets at the number 4 pick if they are trying to move it. But if the Nets or the Hornets choose to go other directions and it's not them, there's also been a new team in New Orleans mentioned as looking to move up in the draft. The Pelicans have been thrown in the mix, hoping to increase their positioning in the first round as well. Thomas Gorski posted an article saying that the Pelicans should be someone the Hornets expect to hear from on draft night, trying to move up into that spot. And as health concerns continue to loom around LaMelo, who we know has played just 105 games over the last 3 years in Charlotte, the need for a quality backup point guard is a glaring one. And it just so happens that if they choose to explore that avenue, the Pelicans have one of those to offer. Jose Alvarado, a battle-tested, proven veteran in this league, his status remains highly up in the air down in New Orleans as they prepare for a potential full offseason rebuild. Could be a perfect fit to play behind and even fill in for LaMelo if he has to miss time, which unfortunately, as I mentioned, we've had to schedule into our calendars each of the last 3 seasons. So if that trend continues, having a Jose Alvarado, who's just 27 years old, still youthful in his own right, and will be playing on just a $4.5 million deal next year, could be a great impact to the franchise. If Alvarado is able to keep pace defensively, where he averaged 1.3 steals per game coming off the bench, he would be a steal for the Hornets organization, again, at just $4.5 million hit to the salary cap. Gorski even suggested that the Hornets could get the number 7 pick and 23 picks along with Alvarado, adding 2 more first-rounders to help build around a young core. I think if this option is available, if the Nets fall through, if this is the route the Hornets want to take, I don't think there can be any knocks to this. You add a veteran presence who can really help the second unit not drop off in production when he comes off the bench. You get 2 more first-rounders to build around the young core. I think that would be a more than satisfactory move if it is the one Charlotte makes on Wednesday night. Now, as we speak about that young core, we'll transition into talking a little bit about one of the members of that. It is Josh Green, who will receive some unfortunate but not debilitating news this weekend regarding his recovery. As we know, Green injured his shoulder towards the end of the season, causing him to miss 7 of the last 9 games, and it was reported over the weekend that he did undergo surgery to fully repair that shoulder, clean out any of the junk and gunk left in there, any of the naggingness that may be left from the shoulder injury, which will allow him to get a full recovery, a full offseason to do so. The report did state that he'll be out indefinitely, but no one in the franchise is concerned with him missing any time when it comes to training camp or the beginning of the regular season. So a full recovery is expected for Josh Green, who started 67 of the 68 games he played in last year. But that full recovery and maybe the Hornets drafting a wing or bringing in another player could give Green the chance to move back to a bench role, which will allow for him to be a little more comfortable. That better suits his game anyway. And if it's not someone like Alvarado coming in, it could be a Josh Green transitioning to the bench role and being the leader for that second unit who keeps production up when the starters go off the bench. Holding on to an important role player who may or may not be the most well-liked throughout the fan base in Josh Green throughout the franchise, that's up to you guys to decide. But nonetheless, it could be potentially big to have someone who's coming into their 6th season and understands a little bit about the culture of Charlotte after he's been there a little bit now and what this front office is trying to do to take that next step. Having a guy like that coming into the season healthy is going to be beneficial for the franchise. And speaking of next steps, and according to some recent draft stock reports that we've been seeing here, that next step could be closer than you think. Literally, right down the road in Durham. And I'm not talking about who you think I'm talking about. We've all heard the Con Knipple rumors. We've done our research on him since March ended. We know the potential that he brings. If he's the 4th pick, we know what promise we could maybe have if that is where Charlotte goes at number 4. But in recent days, the draft stock of his Duke teammate, Kaman Malik, has skyrocketed, and the buzz around him being a Hornet is getting louder and louder. Now, Malik has countless tools you can't teach. He's 7 foot 3 inches tall. He's got a 7'6" wingspan and a freakish level of athleticism. He was a little bit buried behind the star that was Cooper Flagg at Duke, but if you paid any attention to the Blue Devils season this year, he was a major impact offensively and defensively as well. Now, when you combine all of those things with him being only 18 years old, having already played in high-level competition both at Duke and in the Olympics this past summer, front offices really start to salivate. It is a little bit widely agreed throughout mock drafts in the league that he may be a bit of a reach at the number 4 pick, but all of those unteachable tools combined with his experience in high-level competitive games already may make it worth finding out at number 4 if that's where Charlotte decides to go. But if the Hornets aren't willing to use the 4th pick on the big man, it could set up a perfect scenario for one of the earlier trades we were talking about, where the Hornets move back maybe to the 7 or the 8 spot, which is where most mock drafts have Malik projected anyway, and get another player or pick to go along with that. I think that if VJ Edgecombe is not sitting there at 4, who I think if he is at 4, that's where the Charlotte has to go, no questions asked. But if VJ is not there, then I think this right here would be a no-brainer move. Maybe move back to the 7 spot or the 8 spot, Nets, Pelicans, whoever it may be, and pick Malik there in that spot, get another pick, get another player, someone to help build around the young core as we've been mentioning throughout the video. Malik again comes in NBA ready from the jump. As I mentioned, he's played against NBA players in high-level games. Those weren't exhibitions that we watched this summer in Paris, folks. We know the passion that the NBA players brought to those games with Team USA. So it's not as if Malik hasn't experienced that already. That's what I think makes him pretty much NBA ready, and he almost instantly solves the big of the future question in Charlotte. He's someone we think can be an anchor inside with that 7'6" wingspan. He averaged 1.2 blocks a game in college. That's something that can translate pretty easily over to the NBA when you have the wingspan he has, and you're only going to get bigger and stronger through development. He's a proven force on the glass on both ends. He was top 10 as a rebounder offensively and defensively in college. And as I mentioned, will only continue to get bigger and stronger. All of these things which can easily translate over to an NBA floor. Again, if this is the move the Hornets make, I think it'll be a home run, knock out of the park. They can get some extra assets. They can get the big man they need and then bring in some other pieces to build around the core through the draft, through free agency, whatever it may be. Speaking of free agency, talk of the draft and getting current players healthy is fun and super hopeful, but fixing a franchise can sometimes be done without such a level of unknown optimism. Of course, I am talking about free agency. As the season has come to an end now with the culmination of Game 7 in the finals, the scramble to sign guys has officially begun. Teams are starting to talk to their own free agents. They're looking at the list of who is coming up in the summertime and getting to discuss with them how they would help impact their teams. My opinion, Trey Mann is the most important on the roster free agent for Charlotte, since he's only 24 years old and has shown glimpses of promise backing up and in the absence of LaMelo. Mann's coming off a career-high 14.1 points per game, so it would be very beneficial for the front office, in my opinion, to go after him, try and re-sign, keep him in Charlotte, somebody who understands, again, the culture that this new front office is trying to build, a youthful, almost still prospect with a lot of promise to go, as he, again, is only 24 and only going to get better through development. It could be huge for the front office to keep a young piece in-house. Now, the list of those hitting free agency who aren't already on the Hornets is not the most exciting one we've seen in recent memory. That doesn't mean that if the Hornets choose that route, it won't work out. There's some very established bigs out there, like names like Naz Reid, Jonathan Kuminga, and even Santi Aldama available if that's the option the Hornets choose to take and utilize their fourth pick somehow, some other way, whether it be traded, taking Edgecombe, whatever that may be. There are still bigs in free agency that can be signed to help answer that question if that's the way Charlotte chooses to go. Now, I'm not saying the three names that I've listed would be the easiest financial options. All three of them are extremely young players who are coming off strong seasons despite the end of Kuminga's there. We know the injury stuff, he kind of dwindled off a little. But before that, strong seasons. Aldama had a great season in Memphis behind Jaren Jackson. And Naz Reid, we know what he's done out in Minnesota as well. They're all projected, again, the young names are all projected to be quite expensive, but I think if that's the option Charlotte wants to take, it's certainly something worth exploring. And in my opinion, Aldama would be the most logical here. The Grizzlies, like I mentioned, they already have Jaren Jackson Jr., who they're going to need to pay soon, so they're probably going to have to do some moving around and some working to get that done in the first place, which would make it highly likely for a team like Charlotte to be able to come in and present a better offer to someone like Aldama, who, if brought in, does bring a larger presence into Charlotte, something, again, we've talked about several times already, a big man that hits and fills a need instantly. He not only brings a 7-foot frame into Charlotte, but he also brings a three-point percentage of 37 from beyond the arc. That's something that no big on the roster can currently say, and already trumps the ones that are already in Charlotte offensively. He's a good defensive presence as well. And he's 24, about to be 25 years old, so another young face to add to the already young core that Charlotte is trying to build around. So, with the draft on the 25th and the start of free agency on the 30th, the front office has to kick their decision-making into overdrive and in a hurry. It's very important, going to be very interesting to keep an eye on that for the next couple of days, see how things unfold on Wednesday night and throughout free agency as well. Well, folks, that'll do it for this episode of Hornets Daily. I'm Vance Ballard, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow with more updates from the Queen City. Until then, keep buzzing, Hornets fans.